Hi everybody, Jo here again. Thanks for joining me for Technique Tuesday. Now today we're going to look at Mica Minerals. Now this is answering, I've had a message from Pam, Angela left me a lovely comment on YouTube and also so did Tracy. And you asked me to just give you a quick overview of Mica Minerals because you've bought them and they're doing that thing of being in your stash, on your shelf, and they're staying there. So and I must admit, this is just my take on a product. So it's the way my head works and I explain things. Now, Mica Minerals are a powder. Now, there's a slight difference here. This was my original Mica Minerals from Lavinia. So if your packaging looks like this, don't panic. It just means you bought them when I bought mine. We have rebranded them, repackaged them. They're as fabulous as ever, but it's nice to introduce new colours, and this is the new packaging. So exactly the same product. This has just got different colours in. So just a slight difference in your containers. So I wanted to point that out. If you're like me, I mean, I've got tons of both, and a lovely tin to put them in. Now, these are a powder, like I say. If I take one of the lids off, look. So it's important, if you suffer with asthma or something like that, just be aware it is a powder. And best not to have it if it's very warm and you've got air conditioning blowing or you're outside. That would be my one thing. Or don't cough or sneeze over your pot. For me, I always put the lid on when I'm not using it. They come in fabulous colours. Be aware we have like pearly ones with a hint of colour. Now look at these, they both look white, don't they? But when you use them, we have a hint of, let me turn the lids over so I can tell you. I think we have a hint of violet on one and pearl on the other, and you can just see it. So, how to use these? Let me put the lids on these because if I knock them over, lots of ways to use these. The first one, so I've got a piece of artwork here, which I've done, and I'm going to stamp. And I'm using one of my lovely, it's the Sacred Spell stamp. And a little tip, I always put an arrow on the back of my stamp so I get my wording the right way up. And I'm going to use the Versamark. So this is your sticky ink pad because we need something to attach this powder to our work. And the thing for me is choosing which one shall I go for. Shall we go for a gold? Now just let me find a piece of copy paper to put underneath. Now try and make sure that your stamp is nice and clean. When you're using, I'm just going to give mine a rub with my Inky Binky, when you're using a Versamark ink pad. Because if not, you'll get ink on here. And if you're anything like me, it upsets me. I am funny. I mean, your ink pad will work just the same. But you know what? I am one of those people. So I just want to add a bit of something across this design. So it's a finished design. And I'll just put one stamp there. And then we'll just put one here. And then what I do is just come in, a little bit of powder on my brush and dab it on. And I call this secret writing because the writing will appear as you dab it. If you hold your card in the light, you can actually see where your Versamark, because it puts like a watermark image on your card. Try not to scrub your brush. The reason I'm dabbing the powder on is I don't want to smudge the Versamark ink. So it is almost like a sort of a dabbing motion. But I must admit, once I've sort of covered, or I think I've covered the Versamark, I do just, and this is one of those, like I say, I call it secret writing because it's all how you just tilt and just catch. Now, you could also, I have done this design and stamped the grass, the lovely field grass in front, and added that with the mica, and that looks fabulous too. Now, for me, I would give this just a couple of minutes for that mica to just almost adhere to the Versamark. And what happens is around it, you will get extra little bits, and it's almost called a bloom. Now for me, I wipe that off with, I need a soft piece of either lint, or I use just one of these cotton pads. I don't like to use kitchen towel because it's quite textured and it can be a little bit rough, and you want something smooth. And what you do is you're almost just buff up that love. I like a bit of buffing, don't you? So I'm going to buff up, and it's very gently, and I'm just taking off any excess, look. And then if I can bring this up to show you. Now, you know my camera work isn't good, so please forgive me. Can you see in the light as it just catches here? And I just think this is such a fabulous effect. See if we can I just catch this other corner? Oh, there, we've caught this one, look. Just really want you to see, look, there we go, how lovely it looks. Absolutely beautiful. So that's one way, just adding it on top, and it really will give a bit of extra. And you will find that people that get your cards will be like, oh, look at that when I move it, look. Now, obviously, this looks fabulous, not just on a design you've already done, but on black card. So if I just move this out of the way. So here, I've stamped on black card and done exactly the same look. How effective is that? Now, do remember as well, wow, I've got an embossing pen. So it's the same ink that's in your ink pad, but it's in a pen. And you can write. So think of all the things you could write. I mean, I just very sillily wrote my name because I couldn't think of anything else to write to show you. Same thing, I dabbed the powder on and then just wiped across, and look. So you can personalise. So that's another thing. Now also, as well as black card, I had a little play with my Lavinia coloured card, and look at that. So again, the same thing, I stamped in my Versamark, my sticky ink, just added my powder over the top. So once you start, you've got all these lovely things you could do. You could use your pen or your ink pad, look, to go around the edge and frame the design, add in the powder. So that's that. Now, the other thing we can do is we can paint with it. So what I like to do is just get myself one of my acrylic blocks as a palette. And if ever you go to one of those coffee shops that gives you one of these nice stirrers, I find these very useful, because what I can do is take some of my powder and just add it. And again, make sure you pop that lid on. Should we add a bit of the gold as well, just so I can show you? And we'll go for another colour. Let's go for... And I don't want to put that in there because that's got gold on. I'm a bit funny like this. I'll put another one there. Now, so I've got a design here, and this is the Zen grass, and all I've done is stamped it, and then in black, and I've put some clear gloss of our embossing powder over the top to give me a lovely resist. So what I've done first is I've just painted here in some Elements ink pads. And what I want to show you, one way I can use my powder, look, is to add some water. And then with my Lavinia water brush, look. Now this is dry. I painted this maybe 10 minutes ago. I can come back and then I can add my mica to the top. So it can be any design that you've painted, and it's dry. And I'm just going to add. So I won't add it to all of them. I'll add it to a few. And just bring that to the camera to show you. Now again, this will be great, I mean, with our fairies, underwater designs. Now, you know me, I love my splats. And what I could do if I wanted some sort of magical splats, look, I can mix some with and just add a few. And when that dries, let me do it on here, because it'll show up even better on the black. We'll add some. So again, if you want to add some iridescent in the background, add some splats. Now, another way we can paint with it is we can actually add it. So I've got my colour here, So I'm just using Blue Lagoon for this, and I'm adding some ink on there. And what I can do is add some water to my ink, clean my brush, and then pick up some of the Mica Minerals and add that. Oh, look at that. So you've instantly got, look at that shimmer. Honestly, can you see that? So I can now paint with this. Now think of all your colours of ink that you can instantly add this shimmer to. What I'll do is I'm just going to pick up the gold and I'm going to add that to the orange. And again, it's just a lovely way of using your inks and your mica powders together. I'm thinking we've got Christmas coming up, haven't we? Oh, wow, look at that. The gold and the orange. Let me just paint these and show you. I mean, I'm thinking for Christmas cards. And you know, if you're somebody who doesn't necessarily want to add glitter, this is just a lovely way of adding sparkle. Now, I must say, when you put your paintbrush back in your water pot, and remember, don't have your water pot above that metal bit. What's lovely is almost the Mica Minerals gets in your water. So everything you paint after that, you've almost got Mica Minerals in that water. So that adds extra sparkle too. Now look at that. So we've painted it over the top here, but here we've added it to the ink and painted with it. I just think it's fabulous. Now I'm going to carry on and finish this because I have to say, I just think it's lovely. And the reason, yes, that I've put it on one of my blocks, and again, it will just wipe clear, is just to save my mat, because I'm trying to keep my mat as clean as possible, because that's just me. So I'm really hoping that that helps you, give you a few ideas of what you can do with your Mica Minerals. And I'm sure you'll think of lots of other things. Now, I personally don't fix mine, sorry, excuse me, because I find the Versamark, the sticky ink, is enough. Look, I'm rubbing that and it's fine. And also I find once I mix it with water, the water will keep it fast. But if you wanted, you could use a spray fixative on top. That choice is totally up to you. So I'm hoping that's given you a few ideas. And so those of you that have got your Mica Minerals, please get them out of the pots and have a play. Add them to all those lovely designs that you're going to do. And any more suggestions, if there's anything else you want me to look at and have a play with, you know me, I'm happy to have a play. Thank you as always for all your comments. And thanks for the new subscribers. Honestly, it makes us so happy here at Lavinia. Love and hugs to everybody. You take care. And I'll see you again next week. Bye for now.